Hello, man. Go your own way. Go your own way. I have to do that backwards. If you're sitting here, it's the opposite way. It looks it feels weird doing it. Go your own way, man. Today we're going to talk a little bit about racketeering in marriage. Seems to be a big racket, and it is. It's based on the same racket of religiosity. And let me check my sound real quick. And it is. It's based on the same racket. That's a good sound. Hello, Jigsaw. Hello, RP. Hello, everybody that's going to come in. And always remember, go your own way. mgtow. It's important nowadays because you can get all caught up inside of things you don't want to get caught up inside. Divorce, the divorce racket. It's quite a scam. Racketeering it's offered as an idea that they're giving you a service for non-existent problems, a service that would solve a problem that the problem wouldn't exist without the racket or the service. Salvation is that way, and we'll start off with that. We'll start off with the salvation, the Christian idea of salvation. Someone's going to save you from an impending doom, but that same impending doom, that entity that is going to save you from that, is the same thing that's going to give it to you. It's sort of like racketeering in itself would be a store owner has got to pay money to the local mob for protection. He wouldn't need to pay protection money if the local mob wasn't going to harm him. So it's a local mob, and God is the same way. You're going to pay homage to God, and God is going to save you from God, which is racketeering at its finest. And Joey just said, I came on a little late today. I was out yesterday, and I decided to take a access road down into the next town over that I wanted to go to buy some 5-wire. I had an old thermostat, so I wanted to put in a new thermostat. And anybody that puts in a new thermostat knows that you got to buy 5-wire, or you have to have 5-wire, which is a C wire, which is a common wire, which gives you your 24 volts to run the actual thing. I wanted to put it where I could turn my. I wanted to turn heater on or off from my phone while I'm out, so I can turn it on before I get home. That'll save me a little money in heating costs and everything. So I'm rebuilding my furnace now. My furnace broke, and so I was taking this access road, and I figured there's no real way to get over to the next town. It's split by a highway, 2 highways, and then there's one highway going down, which is a divided highway. So you can't ride your bike on it. So we have to figure out ways to get through this wooded area. And there was an access road next to the railroad tracks. I couldn't ride on the railroad tracks, and because it's just and the stones are real big, and they just eat up your tires. So there was an access road, and I was like, okay, this is going to be cool. And I got down. It was muddy as F. I was covered with mud last night when I got home. And I was down in there trying to pedal through with, and I hit this one jump. There was a jump off of it's a hill. And then I got a little airtime on it, and I coming down, and I realized that I had about a split second to react, because there was this sewer grate at the bottom, which is a sunken sewer grate, which was about the size of a tire, and I could just see myself endoing this whole thing over the bars, OTB, and so I pulled up as hard as I could when I hit from the jump, and I had no time to react, and I just smashed both tires against I kind of cased it perfectly where I wouldn't go OTB, but I'd have to bounce off of it. And I was like, oh shit, that was hard. And I was like, oh, I stopped for a minute, sat down, and I was like huffing air. And, it's like, so I decided to put these inserts in today that I had laying around. I bought them. They're $100 inserts. They're foam inserts for the tires. And all this morning I was still kind of beat from yesterday, and all this morning I was so that's why I'm late. So yeah, I put this in. They're not easy to put in. They're exactly the instructions are like exactly the opposite of the actual instructions to do it are exactly the opposite of what it is to actually get the foam insert. It wraps around you have to go with a smaller inner tube, and it's about that much foam. And I got 2.60s, so they're pretty high. It boosts it up. It did. After I got it in, I was real happy with it. So I was riding it around, and I washed the mud off the bike, put my clothes in the washer, and I was like pretty beat, and Joey's on. And that's what I was doing this morning, just being pretty beat. What happened to my my settings for my let me see. The greens, there's supposed to be something behind the green screen, and oh no settings. Okay, let me there's supposed to be something behind it. Oh, let me pick something to put behind it. Let's put there we go. That's the destruction from the steel mill. So that's what it was. I was just beat. I washed the bike off, and I got everything, got the clothes and then I had a little time to think about what I wanted to say. It's fun to mgtow topic and everything. And today we're going to talk about the marriage racket. It's the same as the religious racket. It's racketeering. It's how to suck you in as bait and switch, but without. It's the same idea as it's the same idea as salvation. You wouldn't need salvation if God wasn't this mysterious entity wasn't there, that he was going to put you in hell if you didn't. So otherwise, he gives you salvation at a cost. And believing there is really no cost to it either. It's what I would call a non-state of affairs. There's no there's nothing there. There's nothing to believe in or not to believe in. There's no object. There's no there's nothing. How you doing, Joey?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Just decided to come on. I had quite a morning and quite a day yesterday. I was just beat. I decided to go mudding. I thought going down. I was taking an access road to the next town. I needed to go to a Lowe's, and there was no Lowe's close, and I had to get across to the next town. And there's no easy way to get there on a bike, so I had to figure out a way. And I was like, oh, there's an access road next to the railroad tracks, and I was like, I'll take that. And not a good idea.
Yeah,
it was mud. I was at one point. It looked like it had turned into the whole road had turned into a little swamp of lake about that deep. And I was like, this, and I couldn't go on the tracks at that time. And I was impervious to turning around. I was dead set in making it to this one road I was going to, but I found a better road. I looked at the satellite view, and there was another road on the other side, which they said, don't go down. There was a sign. So I obeyed the rules. And I went on the other side, the access road for the corporation access road. And I was like, oh, the other side would have been, it just disobey the rules is what I have to do to get to the next town over.
Yeah. I got a 4-mile walk in yesterday. It felt great.
4 mile, yeah. It was nice yesterday. It was kind of cooler than I expected. I was looking for like a 60-degree day, and it was like kind of cool. When I got up out of the woods and the mud and everything, I was like, I went to a gas station. I needed to chug a bottle of Pepsi, so I got myself a cherry Coke from Speedway, 79 cents cherry Coke, and I was chugging. And I noticed it was like kind of cold comparatively to where it was supposed to be. Everything. So what do you think the overlay with religion and marriage and the racket that they got going in that?
Yeah, I mean, like we say, you look out the door. That's your oppressor right there in the corner. The religious establishments that they have, churches and all these kind of things. Stuff that we always talk about. Well, it's like I was thinking, like I used to work for this liquor company, right? And I was going there for a few months. It was like an independent sales job. I was in between jobs, so I took this job, and they were out in Boston, and they were telling me about they had a couple of like gangsters come in there, and they try to shake them down,
Down, yeah.
But they didn't understand. The guys I was working for, they were like fucking tough asses, and they just told them, go take a hike, And so it's kind of like similar to these, these people that try to extort you, like that's pretty much what they're doing. It's like a soft type of extortion. They're trying to tell you that there's this boogeyman, the devil, right? That they're, like these mobsters are going to protect you. Like, no, they're not. They're offering you protection, like the church offers you protection from this boogeyman, right? Like this metaphysical boogeyman. And we're going to say, oh, we're going to get you into heaven, right? Just follow our rules. And meanwhile, you don't understand. There is no threat. There is no boogeyman.
There is no boogeyman. Yeah. The same person that's going to save you, or the same entity that's going to save you, is the same entity that's going to throw you in hell. So it's like, yeah, that's just a racket. And it's like all the while, the down here in the real terrestrial planes, all you're supposed to have this idea of this upper heavens, this universe up there, universal thinking, where God's always just out of reach. Remember when Moses was good, God was on this mountain, and before that, God was all way in the desert, and then now he's up on this mountain, and you just can't climb up there. Only Moses can. And then the next thing is God's in the sky, and then the next thing the astronaut, the cosmonaut, went up, and they said, "Did you see God?" And he goes, "Nope, he must be at the end of the universe." Now God's at the end of the universe, and now we'll get to the end of the universe that we know, and then God will be farther away. It's always just a little bit farther.
Yeah.
And so it's but it is a racket. It's the same as the mob racket. And marriage is like that too. Marriage is another racket derived from this original racket, and this is how we're supposed to act. And there's, you're gonna acquire some. So I don't even know what you acquire in their scheme of things. You get this sacrament of marriage, where it gets you just one more step up to. And then you become the provider, you become this, you become everything. And our whole system has revolved, just kind of wrapped and entangled itself around this idea of honorable Christianity, or honorable religiosity. No, you were talking this morning about Marcus Aurelius and about ethics, and how we can learn ethics from different sources, and even those ethics, they're going to do the marriage thing. It's always the marriage scam, and that's naturalism, they say.
Yeah, they get you at a young age too, and so you just have to say no, like we said, the boundaries.
Yeah, just say no, and that's it.
Yeah,
I'm not this, and you can't make. I'm not going to volunteer for my own slavery.
Well, there's a reason why there's a church in pretty much every corner in America. It's just there to. They're just like I don't know how you want to say it, but they're like. Well, schools too. Schools do it too. I mean, they're just programming your mind to think a certain way. And I was thinking about that the other day, like why women act the way they do. Well, I mean, I don't totally blame women all the time, because they're programmed to be a-holes, So they follow that program, the a-hole program. They
are assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can get away with almost anything. The thing I was looking at this week was the difference between, we all know who Derek Chauvin is, right? The George Floyd guy and everything. And then there was 4 cops there, right?
I don't know how many.
Now now in the other shooting with a woman, she got a manslaughter 2. Now, nowhere in manslaughter 2 does it say you can shoot somebody. A manslaughter 2 in Michigan is like it's like saying there was a hunting accident and you shot someone in a hunting accident, and you get manslaughter 2. You get manslaughter 1 if you accidentally shoot someone in your home or something. Now, she was with a gun, and she shot this person, this young man, and she gets manslaughter 2. Derek Chauvin gets murder 2. Now, I was thinking about the other 4 people. What happens if let's talk about the gang thing again, the mob. And the mob leader comes up, and he's a nasty guy. And he says, hold this guy so I can choke him out. So the other 2 hold him, so he chokes him out. How many counts of murder are there?
I don't know.
Well, there's three. If two people are holding them, they're equally responsible for the murder, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's complicity to murder, or it's murder to, and it's the same murder. They held them. The boss showed. Now, Derek. Now, think about that in Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin's who is the other guys holding him down?
Yeah,
There were two other guys and then one white guy that was standing off to the side, but there was a black guy, and then there was a Chinese guy helping hold him down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're considering their charges when, well, really under the same laws, it's about racism here too, and it's an over thing about racism. There were three guys holding him down, and they're all equally complicit in the murder of George Floyd, if you believe he was murdered or not and everything. But in the female, where the female just walked up and shot accidentally or shot him, she pulled her gun out. She said, "Oh, I thought it was a taser." She gets the pass right away, and it's manslaughter too right away, not murder too.
Yeah.
So women get the P pass, and we know that, and it's evident in the amount of women in jail. Half the crimes are females, and it only maybe a small percentage, maybe 12%, I think, of women's prisons are full. The rest of them are men. Men go to jail, women don't. Men have a higher standard, women don't. You look around, there's so much hypocrisy in this thing. I was doing the stats on the Asian murders, and they're saying, oh, they just put in new rules about hate crimes and everything, and to protect Asians about, and you know how many Asians were killed in this country last year?
I know it's a low percentage, probably.
Yeah, 122. More people died from chainsaw accidents. But the thing is, you know how many mothers kill their male sons?
No.
466. Do you hear anybody screaming about mothers killing their male sons?
No. Yeah.
No. It's 4 times the amount as Asian deaths, but all of a sudden there's this hidden agenda of racism in there, and there's really not. I could say maybe 2 counts or 3 counts which were caught on tape where the guy just ran a girl. I thought it was a girl, the one with the elderly Asian man. I thought there was 2 girls, and no one ever said who it was. It was just it ran up to him, and that was black on Asian and black on Asian crimes. They won't say things like that, but in the Derek Chauvin case, it's portrayed as a white on black crime, or a thug police that are saturated with. But no one even, when you look at the pictures, okay, there was a black man holding him down with him and an Asian man, which aren't going to be charged with the equal crimes of murder too. And they were equally complicit in a mob murder. If someone's holding somebody and he chokes them out, all 3 of them, 2 people holding them, 1 guy choking them out, they're all complicit to murder. But this won't happen. And I was interested to see how that happens. The logic in our laws are all screwed up, from marriage to police to murders to how we treat females without responsibility or accountability. And we wonder why our society's all screwed up with gender dynamics and even these things. I was listening to one guy, and he was talking about those old points, those old college rape campus points and everything. That's not a real state of affairs. That just doesn't happen. And in the real world, there's no non-material. There's no material facts on that, or object, or this thing that is real on that. And it's just another one of those, just watch it, look over here why I'm fucking you over here.
Yeah, that's right. They're empowered. I think what it is, I think I shouldn't even call them Illuminati. Like, call them fake Illuminati, because they're really stupid. They're not really but what they do is That was the point I was trying to make about
Yeah.
Shit, what the hell was I gonna say? Yeah, no, so they I think they understand that men are, right, obviously a lot stronger, right, and smarter. So the way they can kind of control them is empowering the women, right? Like programming and empowering the women to screw us over. You know what I mean?
All the women
So,
screw you over so they get their slave.
right. So they can use the women as, like, Black Pill, I like to say, which he correctly calls them agents, and that's
Agents,
so
right? Yeah, you use the women as agent.
yeah, agents, and he's absolutely correct. That's what it is. So they have this, like, this perfect setup where they're just, they're able to empower all these women, and then the women are, just, they're gonna take advantage of that situation.
Right. Stephen
So
Hill.
that's why we go MGTOW. So we're in the top 1% of intelligence, and I know we got that knucklehead in the chat again. What's his name? Luigi. And
Luigi.
yeah. What's better, freedom or order? I mean, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, Stephen had it.
Is that like a stupid question? It's like, what's he? What the hell? Like, what's better, freedom or order?
To do with order. Freedom is synonymous.
Not even close. It's not even close. It's absolutely freedom, but you already have your own freedom anyway. Right? It doesn't even matter. Order is just a bunch of bullshit anyway.
Yeah, freedom is serenity, or freedom from, or freedom to.
Yeah.
You have freedom to do things, or you have freedom from things, and a serenity. You have freedom from the other world, other things. But Stephen Hill had a question, and he says, as traditional religion weakens, it's replaced by the new religions. We'll talk about civil religions here, Stephen. Corvid is like a non-material fact of the civil religion, or it is a material fact that there's a disease and everything, but it's sort of a substrata of the new civil religion. If you get that, what's replacing the old religions is a brand new set of civil religion, where it's like, my country, my flag, that stuff. And that's just as bad, because the ideas are the same, and they're developed from these old religious ideas. And there will be a different kind of God that will replace it, and or a different authority that will replace it. And they're still going to force the old, because that's, they're one-trick ponies. They don't know how to solve the problems that we have, so they're just going to reorganize it into different kinds of words and everything. Yeah, Luigi's Luigi's. Let's see. Yeah,
he's I was digging a little deeper into these people, right? These people running these institutions, and I think that's a better way to put them. Like, don't call them Illuminati, because they're not even at our level. We're the enlightened ones, or the mgtow. But anyway, that's another point. But so I was looking into them. They actually have a belief system that they think that they're superior to other humans, and so they actually believe that, and that allows them to treat others like garbage, and as our property. So that's how they view this group that calls themselves Illuminati. That they think that we're their property. So that's kind of getting into a little more like, I don't know, like Johnny Midnight type material, like with Nazi.
Yeah, they do think they're better than the rest.
Yeah, but I think it's true that's what they think, and that's why they develop these institutions to. But I think the ultimate enlightened ones are the MGTOW, because first of all, how many MGTOW are there in society? It's less than 1%. It's got to be very low.
Yeah, we were building rather large, and we thought we were right around 2 million, 3 million, something like that after a while. But after this alt-right thing came in, and we got all the entryism in the last 3 or 4 years, people don't understand MGTOW quite as good as they used to. And the traditionalites, the traditionalites, they're around a lot now to argue with us all the time. And that would be the Grandes and the there's a large portion of the Catholic Church, or there was that church down there in Texas and I think there's a new church around that they sponsor, and they sponsor people that argue with us, and because we're in direct conflict with all their beliefs. So there's churches that are interested, and there's a whole entryism. They figured out after it only took them like a dozen years to figure. They're pretty slow too. It only took them a dozen years to figure out that they had to lie. They have to intimidate. They have to impersonate us. They have to mimic us. Now, we were talking about mimicry in a sense on the last podcast. I think it was, which was a different topic, but it was they will do that. They will lie. They will mimic us and come in and say, and then try to overpower the narrative and kind of taper it back. And we see a lot of it. There's really mgtow lights out there now. The dating coaches, and that's mgtow light, and that's all based on. And then you see the whole group of the MRAs that are getting money from some. It's probably the Man Up group. What was that Man Up group that we? They're getting money from them. They're on their YouTube channels or big donations from the Man Up groups, and they're gonna do what they say. They're sellouts. So we have this whole.
Dr. Grande. Like, why is Dr. Grande talking about?
Why does he care? Why
does he care? Yeah, why does he care? Because he sees somebody. He sees us as a threat. Of course,
we're a threat.
Of course, we're a threat. We're the true enlightened ones. Of course, we're a threat.
Yeah, he does a strange form of. I was reading some of his stuff, and he does a strange form of this harm reduction, which he takes the idea of. And I was supposed to read that book last week, but I never got around to it. And I'm going to do it this week, but it's a paperback. It's a hardcover book about this thick, and I have to read the whole and do the whole theory and everything. And that's like taking a class. And it's just I need time to do it and everything. But he does a strange sort of harm reduction with female entities and the marriage thing. As long as you get married, then you can do harm reduction after you're married, which is. And he's more of I think he is when I was trying to dig deeper on him, I said he went to Excelsior and then he went to Regent College, which are both highly, Christian schools. And one's the Jerry Falwell School, is it Regent, was it?
No, I think that's Liberty.
Yeah.
Maybe it might, no, I think that's Pat Robertson.
Pat Roberts School is Regent. Yeah. It was Pat Roberts School for how to screw over and we wonder why our educational system is so screwed, because I mean, look at in Texas, and they just make up their own books and whatever they want to teach, and then we got these Pat Roberts and Jerry Falwell and those, which are billionaires. They just pump money.
Yeah, that's disgusting. You're this Christian guy, like what's his name? Not Farwell. What was the other one? Who's that? Copeland, yeah. Paula White and Joyce Meyer and Creflo Dollar has his own private jet. I mean, they're doing it right in your face, and it's like,
oh yeah, look at Jimmy Baby. Come on, man. He's selling the poop buckets with the food in them, and then you take the food.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He goes, and then you can poop in it. What a nut! After he's been in jail for scamming, he gets out, gets a divorce. Tammy Faye leaves him, and now he's got the new Tammy Faye duplicate that mimics Tammy Faye, and then he's selling buckets to this. It's just food buckets, because God's going to do what? God's going to light the earth, and all that's going to be on earth is the Christians, but they're going to need to eat, and. I thought he was going to take the Christians up, and then he was going to leave all of us non-believers down here.
Oh man, it's so bad. The programming is so bad. These Christians are so well, I came today. I drove by the church today, and there's a pack of all these cars there, and it's like, oh, those are the people that were screwing everybody all during the week, and now they got to go for an hour at church and ask for forgiveness. Yeah,
them are probably all the people from the government, and they're all going to church, and like, hey, I didn't do nothing this week, and I screwed over a bunch of people for taxes, and I'm taking sick people's houses, and I'm foreclosing on all these houses. Now I need forgiveness, and they get forgiven, so they can go back and do that, and it's all screwed up. The whole thing's screwed up, and
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I was going to ask you. Go ahead. Finish your point. Sorry, I was going to ask you if you wanted to get Luigi in the show. Right?
No, I don't want to do that. I'm too
All
tired
right.
to do
All right.
the.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I would explode. I would explode because it would be nonsensical garbage, and
I just needed a good laugh. That's all. I was just wondering what he was going to say. He's so. Yeah, he's probably got another 25,000 years of evolution to get to your level.
yeah,
So that's going to take a while for him to get there.
It's going to take a while, and he could come over and he could, start reading some philosophy books and put away the God stuff. And what was
anger? Well, it's the anger. I mean, I think like if you're still in anger mode,
yeah,
that's a tough spot to be in. I mean, I can understand it when you're young and you just recognize all this stuff, but boy, you got to get past that. That's a sign of immaturity.
Yeah, one of Wittgenstein's big arguments was people didn't stay in a state of affairs of the world and everything, and they didn't use logic when they spoke. And he says, "Travis, what's better, freedom or order?" And that's a really funny question, because you have to have a certain amount of order, and then that's what he wants me to say. But you can have a moral order through, like we were looking at this morning. Marcus Aurelius is sort of moral order without God. You can have a moral order without having slaves too. That would be cooperation, and everybody'd have to do their part. So, do you lose your freedom if you start doing your part? Is that what that's sort of the capitalistic view of things sometimes? If now someone's telling me I got to do my own part. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to help feed the nation. You're gonna have to help do the roads. You're gonna have to help with the factory work. And then they reject that. They want the lighter than air jobs, and everybody wants a lighter than air. I want a lighter than air job. I think I deserve a lighter than air job, but I never, there's at the top of my profession is probably why I worked from electrician to philosopher, because that's the top of my profession. And logic gates is the same thing as electric, and you begin to think that way in life. So there's no pay. Philosophy bakes no bread. It doesn't pay anything to do that. So I'm an unpaid slave, and a lot of jobs work out like that. You're just the unpaid slave.
Well, just be like a college professor. They get paid a lot of money they teach the same course every year for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's just like it just comes down to what you're, if you can publish, it all comes down, like in academia, it all comes down to published works, pretty much.
Published work, yeah, but
published work, yeah.
I have to agree with what they say, and I have to agree with their narrative. I listen to those all the time. I've got like over probably 70, 80 books in my Audible of all different sorts and types of lectures and everything. I can listen to a lecture any day for free too, and and most of them are nationally renowned. They're nationally renowned professors and everything, but they have a certain narrative that they won't. There's a certain thing they won't cross, and they won't come into Joe Land here. They won't come into all this here, because they know it's hard, and they know MGTOW. When you start discussing MGTOW, their idea would be just to balk at that point, balk conservatively, even though some of them say they're rather progressive, but they'll balk conservative because they don't want to do the argument.
That's exactly right. They're the least progressive. These professors. They're the least, or these college universities they're very conservative. They're very, I don't like the word conservative, but yeah, they're very traditional. That's the right word.
Yeah, they're very traditional.
They're very traditional. Very traditional. Yeah,
hand in hand, doesn't it? It's just a TradCon is a traditional conservative. That's hand in hand.
Yeah, they're very traditional because they're making the good salary. They don't really do hard.
Yeah, they won't
rock the boat. Keep it for 20 years.
Hey, don't rock the ideological boat, buddy. Huh?
Yeah. They have to. They where are they going to work? These people. They don't even really have a lot of good social skills, and they don't have they can't like fix a pipe and do plumbing, or they don't really have a lot of. They don't. they don't really have a lot of talent. Their
They
talent
have a
is
lot of talent, yeah.
they're good test takers.
Yeah,
That's their talent.
and I think like electricians are the top of the
Yeah.
they're just the top of the food chain here, but they're still on the food chain, but it teaches a real electric is like the universe. It's like the planet. It only works a certain way, and then you got to get it right, and you got to get your gates right. And once you learn about Boolean logic, and you start pulling Boolean logic to our language and our in our social thoughts and our social society in general, sociology, you can apply it to that, but it's got to run to a true. And that's all that Marcus Aurelius was saying too. These things have to be true, what you say.
I hear a lot of good things about him, Marcus Aurelius. I got to get into his work more.
Yeah, he was the sort of the first. Well, I don't know if he was the first, but Stoicism, male Stoic.
Yeah, he's a pagan Stoicist, which is pagan is a word that they're just the indigenous people of Europe. That's all they were. They demonized that word into
right. They were
demonized it.
Yeah, pre-Christianity.
Right.
They were contacted by Christianity, so they sort of a word like they do with us. They make up these words that have semi negative connotation.
Yeah, like mgtow, or like we hate women. Or no, we hate women. I don't hate women.
And it has a semi. They call us the monks, which has a semi negative connotation.
We're progressive with women because we don't want them to be slaves either.
I don't want a slave woman. I want them to be
sex slaves or being disrespected all the time.
Yeah,
But
the problem comes in with
men. And
I've always wanted a woman that goes to work, rises to the top of her skill set, and becomes responsible and accountable for her babies because she makes them. I don't. But that's where the blame goes on you. You become the responsible party. And no, I just want it's your children. They're not mine. I will help you with every aspect of that mentoring thing and everything, and the bills. And I always pay. Never in my life have I not paid all the bills. It's like that's ridiculous. But I'll help with half. But I want them to be strong, and I want them to be accountable, and I want them to be responsible. And when they lay down with somebody and decide to take that into them, and I want them to be accountable for that too, and I want them for their choices in life. And it's their body, their choice. They got every advantage in this world especially in this climate now. You have every advantage to be independent, to have your agency. You get total choice, but all of a sudden when they do get pregnant, they balk on that. And it's the same thing. They go, oh, well, I need a slave. I need him to be there. It's like, no, not being independent. It's like you can have both too. You can have both because most men know deep down in their heart that, I mean, a lot of them do with, like I said, with Corvid's disease and the mental illness that goes along with it. They believe they're having children, and they believe they believe in fatherhood, which is Corvid's disease. There's a mental illness in there. They believe somehow they're responsible for that, and they're responsible for the rest of their lives. And that they couldn't be farther from the truth. But there is a system out there that we can incorporate, like my system, that we rise to. Like I said, I want the girls to be strong and independent. I want them to have agency. I want them to have everything they talk about, and then we can, if they do that, then this group dynamic, this gender dynamics problem is over.
Mm-hmm.
And men do what men do. We pay our taxes. We contribute to the society in that form, and those taxes should be going to the girls too, to help out with the family situation. To help out. The funny part is we have an argument of childcare now. After she does get pregnant, and we got billions and trillions of dollars of taxes that you are paying that never make it to the females. That's where the problem is. Let's empower them. Let's give them homes and let them raise those children. But the filthy government has to get their filthy hands off of that money. And it has to go straight to the people that need it, and that could include the handicapped, that include females during the mating process. But we do need programs like childcare while they're at work. And yeah, I believe in that 100%. But that still does not make me the slave to that.
Yeah.
I'll pay my taxes, but I want the government to get their filthy hands off those taxes. I want to do away with the marriage system. I want to do away with the divorce system. I want to do away with and have a more natural law, which just says it's her choice. She gets pregnant, then society takes care of it. Make sure no one falls under the, falls between the cracks. But we have this huge government that actually eats all the money. And that's where the social fact of they become self-evident or they become concerned with their self. Now they're reflecting the female conscious by concern. They're concerned with only themselves now, not the people that they're originally supposed to help.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, there's a great show out. And I always say this to you guys, if you want to see like that idea playing out, it's called Poverty Incorporated. And if you've never seen the show, the movie Poverty Incorporated, it explains Durkheim's social facts. And it explains how they take like the Red Cross and explains about how they even become self-interested in themselves rather than doing what they're supposed to do. And it shows you how this corruption happens. But I don't know, people won't watch like documentaries on like that stuff. And once you get that idea down and you start seeing how marriage is intertwined with that, and how the marriage, divorce, lawyer system, all that stuff is intertwined with the corruption itself, then you truly realize how this system is totally corrupt.
Yeah, they're counting on the slaves to keep it going. That's what they want. It's ultimate slavery is the.
Yeah, them happy slaves. They get married, they get a divorce. Also, they're in the system. They're being regulated by the system. They got to get two jobs. This idea permeates that's the stoic thing to do, and it's not really stoicism. That is the furthest thing. That is suffering to somebody else's ends. That's the furthest. That's the furthest thing from stoicism, I would think. A stoic male would be more like me, in which we'll just do our part, whatever our part without the slavery thing is.
Yeah, but it does all start with that those beliefs.
Oh, sure it does. Yeah.
Yeah, because like even Christianity, they advocate. I always talk about Christianity because that's my background, but I don't know about these other religions, but I know it's all this the life, like we say, life of suffering. Like they advocate. We're not supposed to be. We're supposed to be enjoying our lives. I mean, we're the apex predator. You know what I mean? In this world, it's like, you know what I mean? There's nobody better than us.
Oh man! Oh, you know what? I can't do it.
Like abilities and talents, like there's nobody higher than the human, right?
Yeah, Joey.
I was even talking to my buddy. I said, like, we're talking about the sun. I said, even though the sun is incredible and this, and creates life and all this stuff, the human being is still even higher level than the sun. I think.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. But even, we need a sun to live, though. I don't know if that's correct, but my thought on that. But my thought on that now is a single individual human being is like the most incredible creation, right, in the universe, pretty much.
Yeah, it is.
And they got human beings thinking that you're born with sin and you're a piece of shit and you need a savior and all this kind of crazy stuff. They got everything flipped up where they think if you don't believe that, you're something wrong with you.
You got the hammer, Joe.
I'm not gonna hammer out anybody. I don't think.
Yeah, as I say, let them talk because
I've evolved.
It proves our point when they do that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I yeah, so I think that's it's part of their program. Like I was listening to a talk about the guy was talking about rights, you know, and he
Right.
says it's kind of a. I mean, I don't know if you disagree with it, but Arshella just went deep, huh? Former Indian just hit a home run. He was on the Indians, wasn't he?
Who's that?
Arshella, he just hit a
Oh,
home run.
yeah, he was.
1-0 Yankees. Yeah, I got the Yankees. 1-0 Yankees. Oh, he
Oh,
had a 2-run homer. I've been betting the Yankees because they've been hitting. I was like, the hell with it. I'll bet it. So I had the Yankees yesterday -1.5 runs, which is a terrible bet. I didn't know Bieber was pitching.
yeah,
Because when I bet, I just look at the numbers. I don't really look at who's pitching. I just look
yeah.
at the
I'll have
numbers.
to watch that game because that was a really good pitching matchup. And
Yeah, but they won 2-1. I had a couple hundred on the Yankees, but then I had 100 on the +155 -1.5 runs, which you can lay 1.5 runs if you got the away team because you get 9 at bats. But anyway, I don't want to bore anybody with.
yeah,
But he just hit a home run anyway, so I'm watching.
Oh, yeah,
What were we just talking about? What was the point I was trying to make? Oh yeah, about this whole thing about rights. He says we're really not looking at it the right way because you're kind of inherently born with. It's almost like a trick, like it's a trick that they're playing on us about rights because
right.
they're trying to say. They're like there's it's not like they don't have the rights to give you, right? You're already inherently born as a human being with these things, right? Like you're like they don't like they're trying to establish these things called rights, but you just live your life the way you want to live it. You don't acknowledge their silly idea of rights. Like you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's really kind of a different way of looking at things, but it made a lot of sense to me because a lot of people that they don't live the lives that they really want to live because they're always thinking about these laws and stuff, which are unjust. You know, they're thinking about like these authority figures, and they're kind of running their human their filter of life is kind of run through this system, right? Instead of just live the life you want to live, right?
Right. Yeah. There's ups and downs to that.
But I just got to say real quick, back to back, Yankees went back to back, 3-0. Okay, sorry, Mike Ford just hit a home run. I'm just happy because I bet the Yankees. That was my big bet of the day today. Anyway, go ahead, Joe. Sorry, I don't mean to. You don't see a lot of back-to-back home runs, though.
Right. You have to have some kind of order, but it's got to be. It has to be well regulated within the norms of the area where you're at and everything, and that would be the men. Like I say, the men give some kind of order, so you don't have people running around stabbing people all day and stuff like that. Now we've replaced that with the police, and the police only show up after the crime's committed. So
right.
It's like, what kind of order is that? That's no order. The order that and after that they give you we just give us money and we'll protect you from.
And look at nature. Does nature have they have an order based on pretty much physicality, right? I mean,
Right.
Based on who's stronger than the other person, and
right, and that stuff works itself out with.
It'll work itself out because the stronger men in society are the ones that are always. They're the ones that are least likely to scam you. They're the ones that are least likely to. Yeah, it's always the little spurgy guys, short. I mean, listen, I got short friends. Okay, I'm not trying to make fun of short people.
Yeah,
but kind of spurgy looking people. Like you see how they act. They penny pinch every single cent, which is okay to be frugal. I'm not saying don't be frugal. It's good. You need to save for a rainy day. But the point like these are the guys you are really like. They kind of fit in more into that little. They're a little more shifty and. You know, they're more likely to screw you over. Put it that way.
Right. Yeah, there are people that are cunning and crafty and have low social low. They're like sociopaths. So you have to watch out for those people too. And we have our history is riddled with stories about cunning and crafty people that are rate high sociopaths and low on the empathy scale. We talked about that last week, I think. And how to do it is it's very complex, and it's not something you can answer just like You can't really get an answer to, because everybody's individual. Everybody has their I guess it's this chains of freedom extend so far too. It's like when freedom becomes libertine thinking or taking advantage of other people, then no, those chains shouldn't extend that far.
Yeah.
But you should be paying people.
This guy's saying I'm demonstrating Dunning-Kruger effect.
I don't know if that.
He asked me a question. I don't know if you see do you believe in demonic possession? Demonic possession. It's like, what are you talking? I told the guy I was walking downtown. I told you a story. Guy called me the devil. I looked him right in the eye. I said, listen, buddy. I said, there is no devil. I said, number one. I said, if there is a devil, though, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you where I live. I'll give you my address. Just have him come over to my house.
Yeah, have him come and visit.
I'll put him right in the fucking mouth, and then whatever. We'll take care of business. But then I seen this guy like the next day. He was talking to himself on the corner of the sidewalk. So maybe it's that guy in the chat. That's the guy that was talking to me. Saying, Bravo 46. He's maybe the guy that was asking if I was the devil.
Well, we would equate any kind of proof or any kind of prepositional thing with that is demonic is like mental illness. People that do not have that ability to regulate themselves in society. And that's where the horror stories come about.
Yeah. It's like you say, fearful people do fearful things. This whole idea of this metaphysical devil, or even these people, they're like, like, I don't know. I guess I take for granted that I'm 6'2", 280, and I'm, I'm, whatever, right? I never lost a fight. I never had to fight, right? And I mean, I had to fight, a little bit when I was a kid. We used to fight a little bit, but I don't really fight. I don't try to avoid fights. But so the thing is, like, I'm not afraid of like this. First of all, it doesn't exist. And even if it did exist, I still wouldn't be scared. It's like
that rolls down from the
they're trying to put all this fear into society. It's such a silly thing. We have to protect you too. When you die, we have to protect you, and we want you to get to heaven.
They have to have an enemy, so the enemy becomes that demons, and the demons they make up in fantasy fiction land, because nobody can show me an actual demon. I mean, if you can prove one, feel free to bring it around so we can put it up on. Put it up.
And they the same thing with magic too, Joe. They have this idea of magic, and we can do magic spells on you. You ain't gonna do fucking nothing to me.
Oh, there's no curses.
I walk in the park in the middle of the night sometimes, like myself with no weapons. Like, I don't even care. I mean, I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid, but I'm aware there might be bears or coyotes out there sometimes.
Right.
So that's the one thing I'm aware of. It's like I'm not that stupid. I don't do it a lot, But one time I did see a coyote, and I was like, oh boy. I was like, here we go. I'm gonna have to tussle this fucking thing. I don't know what's gonna happen here. Probably should have brought a gun with me. I probably should have brought my gun with me.
You bring some kind of spray or something to ward.
Yeah, bring a spray because the coyotes. Because I was out on the West Coast, and there was a couple coyotes, and I was like, oh shit, that was a dumb move not to bring a spray or a gun or something.
Yeah, the idea.
But anyway, guys like us, we don't live that way. Like, I think most of the population, I hate to say it, they're living in fear, and a lot of it comes from these religious beliefs.
Right, they're fed this idea of the demons and the curse. You're gonna have a curse, but that's a curse in itself is social influence. Most of the time, when people have bad luck, it's going to be like when, say, the religious leader says, "I'm putting a curse on you," and then the rest of the neighborhood believes that there's a curse on you, so they ostracize you from the neighborhood. Most of the damage will come. Okay, now you're ostracized, and you'll have to go into the wilderness, and that's where harm will come. And then they do just world fallacy after that, where harm came to him because he was cursed.
Right. He got cancer because he said something bad.
Yes, he said something bad. Everybody.
And look how crazy these Christians are. Well, they'll say, and I hate to just always talk about Christians because I know these other religions are just as screwed up. But they'll even go so far as to say you had an evil thought.
Yeah. So it's what I call it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're doing self-fulfilling prophecy where they're fulfilling the prophecy, causing bad things, and that's why I say the Illuminati They cause the bad things to happen so they can be there and then sell you this metaphysical thing where it's just racketeering. They'll send, and then you're on ostracized from the society then, and then your neighbors treat you better. You have more opportunities, and it's like, oh yeah, that's God working. No, that's just sociology working.
Yeah. They can't. It's independent. Like I said, like you have to like go. You have to just like what's the word? Like you have to kind of like like you have to like reset. Like you know how you reset your phone? I don't know. You have a cell phone? You have a cell phone?
Something
You can do like a factory reset.
Yeah.
And it's almost like every day you have to do a factory reset on your mind. Because one of the ways that I kind of started breaking away from a lot of stuff is I haven't watched like mainstream news and probably I want to say like 12 years now. Like I don't have I just got rid of it. You know, I don't.
Yeah, in a way,
one way.
It's the same self-fulfilling prophecy that they're fulfilling that prophecy, and they're taking little abysmal little things that are happening and making them hyperbolic. There's not all these cops running around shooting people. Every time a cop does shoot, he's scrutinized terribly now, and so these things are going to happen, but it doesn't happen in the order that you think it happens. And like Asian hate is not a real thing. I don't know. I don't know that
you hate an Asian person. Like I've never, like they're so like calm.
Community, like two communities over, and every time I go there, they're the nicest people in the whole world. Nobody.
I mean, I'm not just talking about Asians, but just the only ethnic group that's nice. But they're very like calm people. They're very like considerate.
You know, I like Hinduism as existentialism. I like their ideas, and
I
mean,
every culture has something to contribute. They really do.
Every culture has something to contribute, and I do believe the whole idea of racism in America has just become a self-fulfilling prophecy too. The same as their own religion too. And most of these people are religious, so they're really subject to that kind of social input from what would we call it, programming. They're just subject to that kind of programming. And like you say, if we can have just a little reset, and I thought COVID would reset the whole thing, but they're even using that. Like Luigi says, he's afraid that, or somebody said they're afraid that COVID has become the new religion. And it has, well, yeah, that's because people are subject to the same kind of the same. They haven't identified those maladies within themselves where they are really weak people, and these things will come, and they will have these. Once you start proclaiming that these things are that this is a fact, this is a social fact, it becomes a norm, and these norms develop a very they're not natural norms, so they will develop these uncomfortable sort of situations. And if we start making all these rules and everything, and we start legislating, well, that's the worst thing. And I think the Asian hate laws that we just legislated is a good example of we're over legislating for problems that don't exist.
Yeah. They're just trying again to conquer, divide and conquer. It's very true. It's just the playbook never changes. Divide and conquer. Just set up a boogeyman.
Set up the boogeyman.
Set up the boogeyman. We get this threat. Like they create the threat. They're the ones. They have to create the threat.
This was 122 murders in all of the United States. Asian murders. More people cut their hands.
And I guarantee you, half of those are like the triads. Like they just had to rub some people out. You know what I mean? It's like the triads are like the mafia, like La Cosa Nostra of the Asian.
Yeah.
They have, sometimes they just got to rub people out. They just, for whatever reason. So that's not like, those crimes are probably very
right. They're mostly gang related.
Very specific, because
very specific gang related. Now gang violence is something that I would really 10,000, what was it? 10,461 incidences of gang murders, or no, it was most murders in America are gang related murders. I can't remember the exact. I think it was 10,461 were gang related murders, and those are gang related murders are usually based on. It's good. It's nice to look at that because they're usually based on exactly what you don't think. It's usually Asian gangs, Hispanic gangs, black gangs, and these people they're killing other people at a tremendous rate. No one's looking at it as a. But if you said it was racism, that would automatically inspire fear. But most of the, and I think we should look at gang related murders and everything because that's the biggest problem we have right now.
The gang related, yeah. Well, in LA, there's the Crips and Bloods, Crenshaw Mafia. Like that's South Central LA. But then you got the what's
yeah. Now,
the Mexicans are pretty strong too. Well, I forget what their gang's called.
Yeah, and
M18. Something I forget what they're called.
No, that's
but they all get along. See, that's the thing. Even though, like, most of their crimes are with their own people. Like they're like this power struggles within their own gang.
Power struggles within.
They're not fighting each other because they don't overstep their boundaries.
Right. Yeah, it's the same as the old mafia, and the Irish mafia and the old. They're working their way through the same things.
Yeah. And
most of the violence will happen in between rival gangs that are trying to fight for power.
Yeah, but they're not any. But that's another thing too. What are they called? I forget what they're called. That gang in Mexico, but
the one that came up to T6 or something like that. There was a.
Yeah, I gotta look it up. But these 18th Street, the 18th Street gang. Yeah, 18th Street. That's what they call. But they're. So they don't. Yeah, they're not like these like they're not as like nasty as you think. Like everyone has this idea. Oh my God, I'm so scared of these. I used to play cards with these guys in LA, and so they're just regular guys. They just happen to be in that life, but they're not really. I don't know the gang. I don't know if that's the biggest issue. I don't know. You've done more research than me on that. I think
what we do have to include is like
you're talking about a street level. You're talking about a street like a crime, like crime in the communities, like just like a blue collar type crime, or what do you mean?
Right, M13. That's what it is. Yeah, Rick,
M18. No, 18.
M13? Yes, 13.
No, it's 18th Street Gang.
18th Street Gang, okay. Yeah. Now, Claire's gang is bigger.
M13, yeah, MS13. Yeah, MS13.
Yeah. Claire's gang, that's one we have to manage.
Claire passed away last night. She had a something happened to her. She just died in her sleep, or she had a I think she fell on her own knife or something.
Feminism.
Yeah, she had this. She had this knife that she had in her bed, and it dislodged accidentally and stabbed her to death. She stabbed herself to death. You reap what you sow, right? So the Christians would say. So she stabbed herself to death.
Feminism was Radfem was a real problem back in the late 80s and 90s.
Who?
Claire's gang, Radfem, the radical feminists.
Okay, really? Radfem?
Yeah, they were killing men off at the poison.
Really?
They used poisons and
son of a bitch, huh? Son of a bitch.
At a very large rate. So there had to be some. There had to be.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Well, we did.
Well,
back in the early 2000s, we did a lot of research on the Radfems, and we were cruising the back pages under female names, the same way they do us, and they were giving information on how to grind up heavy metals and poison your husband with heavy metals, and that's where I was interested because I had gotten poisoned, and I realized there's a lot more men like me out there that were getting poisoned at a great rate. And I looked into the Italian. The Italian has a different healthcare centers for men that go to where the first thing they get checked for is poisoning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can be careful. You go to these bars. Like I don't go to bars and I don't drink. So, but
Right.
yeah, you go out to if you're into that type of stuff, boy, I tell you, you better watch who's putting stuff in your drinks and
Right. Yeah.
don't bring a lot of money on you because they'll spike your drink and rob you. They don't care, and that's why I don't like to travel internationally. I went to Italy, a couple times or whatever, and see some family and some cousins there, and then.
Right. You have more.
I've been to the Cayman Islands. I haven't really been. I've been to a few places. That's it. But I don't like to travel internationally because I don't trust these fucking people. I don't trust these locals. They're eyeing you tourists. They're eyeing you. And if you flash money or whatever, they'll rob you. They'll take your jewelry. They'll spike your drink. They don't fucking care.
As a like me and you, as a sort of successful white males and everything, you have more of a chance of getting a roofie from a stripper, and then she steals your wallet than the opposite way around, a roofie from a rape, so they can rape them. There's like a 500 more chance that she's going to drop a volume or a barbiturate on you, and then when you're sleeping, she's going to steal your wallet. Now the crime doesn't excel to, the crime is sort of a rape because you're victimized on that, but you never hear about that, men getting roofies dropped.
Yeah. I had a friend in New Orleans that happened to. He had they stole his credit cards and about $1,000 cash, and
I hear more about that than I actually saw actual rape happening through roofie.
Yeah,
if you look at the modern stream media, they're these guys are running around dropping roofies to girls and raping them. No, that doesn't happen. It happens at a minuscule rate comparatively to what girls are doing.
And a lot of those crimes don't get reported, like because they don't want to report. They don't want to get the police involved. They don't want their name on record or whatever, right? Well, almost a 3-run homer. Wow, home run! The Indians just took the lead. Holy mackerel! 4-3.
Okay, 4-3. Yeah, they need to win a game, and they need to get the batting.
It's fourth inning, but Reyes just hit a 3-run homer. Wow, I just hit a 3-run blast.
That hurts.
Anyway, it's a pretty good game. No, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to watch the games, and then I realized that the Indians just aren't strong enough yet, and they got to.
No, they don't have. They got to. They're trying to develop players. That's why.
Yeah, they got to develop.
Maybe there's some good ones in there that they feel confident in.
They're kind of in between this. Everybody thinks, they got great pitching, they're going to contend. And not really. They have to get the hitting. They got to get the Jim Thome. They got to get the Manny Ramirez or the Albert Bell yet. And they don't have
Right.
They don't have them yet. And with the down season, the Indians only spent $50 million on their whole payroll.
Yeah. They will. I think with Francona, I think he can lead them to, a lot of wins, just because he's smart. He's probably the best manager in the game. Majority.
Terry Francona, I would be like, I'm going to leave unless you give me some hitting.
That guy for the Rays is good too. So I think those are the best 3 managers. Who's the guy for the Rays? Who's the Devil Rays manager?
Yeah, but nobody can make. You remember when Boston went to the World Series and they had no hitting? Terry Francona took that team and just patched it together with some duct tape and made them a great hitting team. So he can do that. But you're going to have to get him some kind of talent, some strength. You got to get him some guys with strength. And I can't remember who what year that was. The Indians were playing them, and I think the Indians did beat them. But they had really good hitting, but they had not a lot of players that, Terry Francona kind of, it was bubble gum and duct tape.
Yeah. He just, Girardi, same way. I don't think the Yankees were as good as.
Sure, yeah.
He won a lot of games there. I don't know why. And he got fired, and they just fired him.
Yeah. Last year they had a ton of hitting. I mean, and
he was a hell of a man. He's a hell of a manager, man. They got the Phillies. They'll win something with him there. He'll
improve their hitting definitely. Yeah, I love baseball. I can't wait till it starts getting a little warmer where I can sit down and go get a draft or, sit down. I like BW3s for watching baseball because they have all the screens.
Yeah.
I can watch. Yeah. I'll just schedule a day where I can sit there, get some wings and just.
Yeah.
And I'll schedule the day around the pitching matchups. And whatever day has the best pitching matchups, that I want to watch all the pitching matchups. And that's how I get to know baseball and how to, if you do it like that, if you're watching random games, you're never going to be able to bet a lot of games. If you get to know all the pitchers, then you're going to be able to have a better idea of when this team's going to go on a run, when this team's going to, and that's the way I do it. I'll bet consecutive games.
Yeah. I just bet the numbers. I just look for
Yeah,
value.
you like the numbers. I'm so confused sometimes about the numbers when I look at them. It's like what I'm getting, what return I'm getting, and it's like, oh no, I just I'll do this a little different.
Yeah.
I like to let it ride too.
Yeah.
Just let it ride. If
$5 just you can. I mean, I had a 25-1 shot the other day. I just had 5 dogs and $5. I paid $250. I mean, shit, I'll take it.
Nice.
25-1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
or more than 25-1. That's what is it? That's 50-1. Or no. Yeah, it's 50. That's 50-1. Yeah, $5 to win. Get back 250. Yeah, it's 50-1. Yeah, 50 times 5. Yeah, 250. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Was that a
50-1? That's hard to hit. 50-1 shot. That's hard.
Yeah, was that a graduated bet or something where everybody was just betting on one side and the bet like horse racing where it just graduated?
I had a friend that did. There was like a software glitch, and he was betting on this computer. He did like a software glitch, and so he bet like a parlay. It was like it was the same team to the same team to the same
to the same teams. Okay.
And he bet like both teams, and because the bookie made a mistake. Oh, okay. He won like $35,000.
That's nice. Yeah.
And he was like, this guy. So the guy he was betting with didn't really know anybody, right? I'll just put it that way. But he knew people, right? So it's like, so the bookie's got a choice to make. Do I pay this bet or do I get my legs broken?
Yeah.
For not paying the bet. Yeah, it's a software glitch, and honors code is like, yeah, bet shouldn't count. But hey, you accepted the bet. Your software's screwed up. Don't want to get my legs broke, or he paid him. He paid him the money, even though it was a software glitch. But so that's so the moral of the story is just watch who you're doing business with.
Yeah.
It's like, it is, because this shit happens. This is real life. When it comes down to money, like some people, like you have to really be careful who you're around and who you're doing business with.
RP says we're going off topic.
Oh yeah. I don't know what we were talking. Well, the guy just hit a home run. That's why. But what were we talking? What were we on?
Well, Claire was dead, but she's going to arise tonight because there's a pink supermoon. So Claire comes back to life.
Claire, yeah, she got stabbed. She got stabbed in the middle of the night, but
but there's a pink supermoon tonight.
yeah, but we're talking about the strippers and the crime. We're talking about crime, I think. Right?
Crime, yes.
But that's the biggest crime. Are the people that come to you? Like we used to have these. So back where I was from, it's like we were not really hardcore gangster or anything like that. But like there was one crew that they used to screw you with a handshake, right? So we had like in this other crew, they would screw you like by punching you in the mouth. So we were trying to figure out like, well, what's a better crew to be around?
Right.
And we thought the people that will punch you in the mouth were actually better guys because at least you know where they're coming from. You know what I mean? You see, like the guys with the handshake, you have no clue when they're going to stab you. You have no clue. Like, and I think
they're going to work behind your back. And
so and that goes with like these churches, like these. So they're like it's that nice priest that you see on the. Shaking your hand, that's the one that's gonna, you know what I mean? He's the one stabbing you in the back and teaching you all these bad ideas,
Right? Yeah, it's just like the mafia, and marriage is just like the mafia because they're gonna come after your wife. They won't come after you because they can't. They'll come after you. They'll try to come after your family. They'll try to negotiate with your wife to turn her an agent against you, and that's the same thing the mafia does or used to do. The syndicate, and so the government's a lot like that too. They'll give her all the benefits in the world to turn against you, and then now you're that whatever they want you to be. You're under control.
That's right.
They know that they can't control an autonomous male.
Right. That's right.
Thing in the world, a guy that understands his freedoms, and so your wife like cowards, like they're the crafty and cunning people that will go behind your back, and that's what our government's become with the divorce courts.
Right.
And that's how they get power.
And I mean, I was even listening to a guy today talk about time, how we're not supposed to be living. It's not natural for us to have these 9 to 5 schedules where, you should be able to go to sleep whenever you want and pretty much get up whenever you want. I mean, obviously you need to put in some type of labor. So you, like, if you're in nature and you have to, you need to eat, like you're going to have to kill some animals and get your meat. You have to put that effort in and work and get that, but to live, right? I get the whole system now. You got this 9 to 5 thing, and you have to be drive through traffic, and the smarter people are pretty much, they don't even really have cars. Like Jeff, he doesn't have, as a salesman, I kind of need one, so whatever, right? I need one to get around, but that's a very stressful, unnatural thing, and they got us living these unnatural type lifestyles that we're under all the stress of having to get up every day, and then it's like a slavery type thing with time, because we have these tight schedules every single day, and it's really not a natural thing, because you see these, like, again, you go back to nature, they're just, sometimes they'll rest, these animals rest and then they go kill and then they rest, they're not on a time schedule. Oh, I got to kill this. A tiger doesn't say, oh, I got to kill this animal by 3:00 and on a Thursday. So those type of things are very stressful and the low quality of life.
Yeah, I just put a book up I just read, and I've been very interested in the order of time and Einstein's mechanics of time and everything. There's a great book out. It's called An Order of Time by Carlos Rovelli.
Oh, okay. What's that about?
It's about time and quantum mechanics and what time is and what time is. And he goes into social time too, about how we keep time. And he gives a philosophical overview of time.
Well, it's a form of control is what this guy was trying to say, which I totally agree with. That's totally true. Yeah.
And that's the bad stuff about, he'll tell you all about how to think about it. And so time is
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, thanks for putting that on there. The thing is, like, even this whole thing about a midlife crisis, like that's the thing. The human mind is so complex that like they have these ideas. Oh, you have a midlife crisis, and it's like, you're creating all this extra stress in people. That's just a made up social thing. Like, just like fatherhood, right? It's a social construct. So, like, a midlife crisis is a social construct. It gets people to kind of like get stressed out over life.
Did you ever think about how
part of life? That's a part of life. Like, just listen. There's no need to stress out over it. Just go live your life and whatever.
Female. Okay. Now, in my concept of malehood, fatherhood, and everything, they're in Corvid's disease. They have this mental illness. They believe they're attached to the woman in a pregnancy and everything. They believe they have birth. Now, when you get to that, that period of time where a man gets 40, 50, and what do they call that again? Where he gets this Corvette and everything. He's mimicking the menstrual strife, the menstrual cycles of the female. She's having women's biological functions stop at a certain point, right? So now society tells us that somewhere there has to be this magic thing where men go through the same thing, and we don't. This midlife crisis for men is bullshit. It's just another made-up social construct that takes you out of the Corvid's disease, the mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to explain Corvid's disease. It's not COVID-19. It's Corvid's disease. It's illness where men exhibit physical characteristics of female pregnancy, where they're mimicking that they mimic that and then you get to this period of time with this will happen with the Christians and the married men, where they go through the same thing their wife is going through. She's having a physical menopause, right? And then so all of a sudden in society says that a male has to go through that same thing. That's the same sickness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, well, getting back to that time thing too is it's like even an idea of retirement. Like they have these retirement things, like timelines.
Right, you have to have your retirement done by this point.
Yeah.
You the fear so they can steal from you, like happened to me so many times. They've stolen money, but the fear was I have to have that money by this time, and I'm going to accelerate my savings so they have more, so they actually have something to grab.
Yeah, the whole thing is screwed up, man. It's
Yeah,
like
it's time. You're working against time. You always hear that with them.
yeah, it's always time, right? Exactly, and it's always like this certain age. Like I hear people like I think I was talking to RP about it. Like I don't know, one guy he knew someone that passed away in their 60s. I was like, man, that's kind of young, you know. And I don't think that's I think that's too young to die like in your 60s. I don't know what the situation was, but that it's probably a high stress type lifestyle, I would
Right,
guess.
stress and usually hypertension has a lot to do with
Yeah,
and earlier.
yeah,
Stress from their jobs. Black males generally die from hypertension earlier because of genetic anomalies. Uh, women are the longest. Women have the longest longevity, and that's because they don't have that stress. And white women have
yeah. That's right. That's right.
Asian women don't have the longest longevity because they don't have that stress of then the hypertension that's thrown onto them, like it's thrown onto men, white men and black men, and there's just more. Yeah, hypertension is that's one of the things you have to start looking at as you start maturing and getting older is like how much stress is on me. Where can I cut these things? That's where mgtow really helps out.
Yeah, but it is interesting with the timelines, though, how they have everything like, okay, 18 you graduate from college, right? And then you got the midlife crisis thing, then you got the retirement age. I mean, then it's like it's always some type of timeline. There's always some type of timeline.
Right. And how that works in females' favor is it's a reflection of the female filter, like I said, with the menopause, and then all of a sudden you have to go through this midlife crisis as a male. You have to do it, and or else you're not a normal male. And then you die earlier if you did manage to save any money, she gets it. It takes care of her.
Yeah.
These things fall in place for the female.
Yeah. It's all about her having a better life while you work like a.
Oh yes, yes, and what you did is just sacrifice a whole life to suffering. So to believe in these made up fantasy fiction things.
Right, right. I'm kind of giggling about it, but it's really not funny.
It is funny, but we're all subject to it. I mean, they got me, they got you for a little bit, and like
40 years, 40. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like all of a sudden, you started looking into your own agency, and you became a mgtow, and what is my freedoms? Well, what am I as a male agent? And then all this stuff started looking absurd, didn't it?
Working for a corporation is absolutely absurd too. That's a big one. Like working for other people, like even with just working for other people in general, like you really need to. Like really smart people they're starting their own businesses, and even if they're not making a lot of money, it doesn't matter. The point is they have enough to live, and because it's a time too. You gain like when you work for a company, they think they own you 24/7. You get all these emails late at night. I had this one. I got so mad. This one manager I had, he sent out an email. Like I happened to be up, and I being a corporate clown that I was, I would check email before I went to bed, like 11 o'clock. He sends out an email like at 10:30, like, "Hey, we're having a conference call tomorrow, 8 o'clock." It's like, what a freaking idiot! It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like why would you do a last minute call like that? It's like, what are you trying to trap people? Like, it's like so stupid. First of all, we shouldn't even have to check email till 8, till we get into the office or whatever, right? And it's like, man, it's like they just pull that kind of shit, right, and it's like they have like, it's like they're putting you in these positions of like, well, there could be a situation where you might not see that email, right? Or then now you're not on the call, and like, well, why weren't you on that call? And
and all of a sudden you're irresponsible because you didn't check.
Right. Right. It's like you told me, and I think you're right. Like you want to have and if you work for a corporation, if you have to go that direction, which I don't advise, but you just have to look like you're busy all the time. Even if you can never possibly, like I had a smart guy I used to play poker with. He was a corporate guy, he retired, and He says, you never get ahead of your work. You never, like, you want to be behind your work. Because you want to have something, because the manager ever goes, hey, what are you working on? And then you can show them that what you're working on. You don't want to be caught up in everything. Like, if you're caught up in everything, it's actually not good. Which goes to show how really silly these companies are, right?
Right, because it shows that they'll give you more work to fill up the time.
Right. They'll give you more to do, and then they'll say, right, and then and worse, they'll even think that you're lazy because you have nothing to do. But it's not that; it's you're ambitious and you're caught up in all your stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's not. You don't get an attaboy for being the best. No, you just get more work.
Yeah. So you have to understand it's hard when you're younger. Like I used to be. I remember when I was in my mid-20s, my first corporate job. I was like, I used to work like a freaking maniac. And as you get older, you realize that you're just being played, pretty much. Like you're just.
You can do less work for the same amount of money if you really
want. Right. And these other, because I remember I had like this one woman that, like, I remember one of my first, like, again, my first corporate job, like, I was supposed to meet her at like 10 o'clock, right? And so I get there at like, 9:30, whatever, right? And I'm waiting for her, and she's like 45 minutes late. Her hair is all whacked out, and she's not even, you know what I mean? Like, she just looks like she just rolled out of bed, And like I didn't understand at that time, but like, she was pretty much gaming the system, right? Like she just, and I had a lot of weird situations.
In the maintenance department, sometimes things just didn't break. You did such a good job that everything was running right. So we used to just grab a log and just walk around with a log, like a big piece of skid or something, And then we'd go to the coffee, get some coffee, walk around, and as long as you had that stick, you were working. Or grab a big wrench and walk around with a big wrench.
Yeah. I had one guy. He was a real piece of work. He's actually my boss's boss. He was supposed to work with me, and he didn't even show up. I'm like, I go, where's this guy? I call my manager. I say, hey, where's the big boss? He's not. And so he couldn't. So he came up with his excuse that he had something. He had like something bad to eat like the day before, and he wasn't feeling well. But he waited until like 1 PM to tell me. Oh. It's like so these guys don't even. It's almost like they know like they do as least as possible. Like they not like
right.
Like, yeah. And then it's like you don't. It's So I don't know. It's really bad. It's a really bad. If you're a hard worker, so and the moral of the story I learned is if you're a hard worker and you like to work, you really shouldn't work for corporations. Those are for lazy.
For yourself.
Those are kind of for lazier people. I hate to say it. I'm not trying to be mean, but you're better off becoming an entrepreneur or you know what I mean, or just working part time or something. Like you don't because they're getting so much more utility out of you.
Right. Yeah. It's the whole thing's about getting more utility, the maximum amount for the minimum amount of pay, and that's just human nature. So, yeah. Work smart, not hard.
Yeah, and always look like you're busy, like you said. I think that's a good strategy too. Always look like you're busy, and again, stay behind your work. There's a lot of strategies that you learn as you get older, but you don't want to be. Like I used to go to this meeting and there were like 5 women and me, right? It was like a team I was on, and it was always my heart rate. I wasn't a mgtow at the time. I knew, I sort of was like, but I wasn't, as well versed as I am now. This is probably 15 years ago, and I always had my blood pressure would always go up, and now I know why, right? Because I'm dealing with these yucky freaking clowns.
Right. The estrogen, the pheromone.
Right.
The bacteria is higher, and if by the time you're out of there, you feel like you've been hit by a freight train,
Yeah, and they were so inappropriate, like the stuff that they would ask me to do, and I was just like, and whenever I pushed back, they would like, give me shit and whatever, and they're always trying to catch me. They're trying to like catch me not working, but I was always a step ahead of them on that. I'm an East Coast guy. They're these West Coast bimbos, and I'm just East Coast man I'm so much far ahead of them. Like just street smarts and everything, right? So they can never catch me with that. But just being around them was always like a very unsettling feeling, and I was like,
Yeah,
And I just wanted to quit the job. So I got downsized like 3 years later. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like getting away from these idiots,
Yeah, they have biological agents they use.
Yeah, they would just go in there and start bitching and moaning and
plus the
they were just. I mean, there was one of them that was like,
they're allowed to act that way.
they were allowed to act that way. They're just yeah. Anyway, I put myself in that bad position because I wasn't in MGTOW. Now I would never put myself in that position. I had an interview with a big company 2 years ago. They wanted to interview me for something, and I asked, well, what's the interview process? Blah blah blah. And I said, oh, you got to do a panel interview, and then there's this one woman that you're going to be working with, and she's in her first year of sales, and she has all this success. I'm like, I'm not stupid here. I've been doing this 20 years. She has her first year of success. Well, she probably just walked into a really good territory. It's not like she did any work for that to be successful. And then I said, forget it. I canceled the interview. It was like a 6-figure type job, which is not a lot of money these days, but still pretty good money. And I was like, forget it. I said, I already know it's going to happen. My blood pressure is this chick's going to drive me absolutely nuts. I said, forget it. I'm not doing it. I said, I canceled the interview. Like, forget it. I'm not going to be working with a chick like that,
Yeah, they have all the advantages and you're at a disadvantage there, but you're going to end up doing the work.
Right. I'm going to end up doing the work and she's going to try to boss me around. Like, that's terrible.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be bossed around. That's why I've been taking a break now. It's like the last 8 months. I've been kind of but I'm going broke, slowly going broke. It's like it's like a sand of the hourglass. Like slowly, my bank account's dwindling down and down.
they want.
But I'm going to have to get back on the horse and start making some money before I retire. But anyway, whatever. But that's the beauty of MGTOW is like you don't have to, we're not consumers, right? We're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So to get back to our main point with the religious views, I think, we talk about those thoughts, and
Right,
I would say reset. Like you have to do that factory reset in your mind. You know what I mean? I think that's a good strategy. Just forget everything that you've learned.
The way it is, you have to really do the risk assessment every day, and you decide what's real, what's not real, where they're feeding you bullshit, and that becomes a process in itself. But you got to do that for yourself, or else you're going to end up one of these sheeps, of the flock.
Yeah, you end up just being a worker bee, and then and you know what it is. And the worst part is like you pretty much wasted your life, because now you're chasing this dollar, or you're chasing a certain consumerism, whatever, and you're not even, and I think a good sign too is if you're not getting in nature a lot, like that's a bad, like even just going for a walk around your block. I mean, like just that's good too, if you can't get out into the parks or anything like that, but. Just get out and get some sun and fresh air. Like if you're not doing that on a consistent basis, you're really missing out on life because you're not connecting with you're not really connecting to things. I think it's almost like you're not growing. Like you're limiting yourself. Like when you're not.
Yeah.
Like I know you get out at least 3-4 times a week or more, right? Pretty much.
Yeah. And I went down the other day. I sent you some snapshots of where I was trying to get up against the walls there, but it was just too muddy, and it's just been mud everywhere lately.
Yeah, we had some mud yesterday too. The thing is, like yesterday I went out and you see the geese, and then I saw like this nice butterfly that was like flying around near me, and stuff like that. It's like I think I think you're putting yourself in a good position and then just seeing all the dogs in the park, and then interacting with people. Like you're interacting with really positive people. Like if you go into a bar, like you're gonna interact with a bunch of knuckleheads. Really, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't think those people are very positive.
That's in the bar setting and everything. You gotta wonder why you're there. Ask yourself some questions. Am I going for some wings or a burger? And how long am I going to be here? And
Yeah.
When you go to a park or something, or you schedule a day just out at the beach or the park or wherever in nature, just riding a bike, there's no all that other stuff, and you could stop and grab something to eat or something like that, and that makes it makes it a little better. But it's not that you're going right to the bar. You're sitting in a bar, you're watching the TV, having to interact with the people in there and everything. That becomes the environment. It's like, ooh, no.
Yeah.
But that's where most
sunlight
people
too.
do. It's to go right to that part, and of their day, rather than, wander out of your house, look around, see what's in your neighborhood, see what's in your area, and enjoy the nature. Then go get yourself some wings and do that. That's a better way to do it. You're expanding you're just expanding the world around you then.
Yeah, and getting that sunlight helps too.
Yeah, it's coming. We're gonna have like an 80-degree day coming up here soon.
Yeah,
beautiful. Still a little bit cold today. It was just like, yeah.
Yeah, we lost some sunlight today. I don't know. I'm looking outside now. There's not a lot of sunlight. Yeah.
Man, did you see that thing I put on the tire today?
Oh yeah. How'd that work out? You got it done?
That was like a nightmare putting that thing in there.
Yeah.
But I got it all up, and I took it for a ride, and then I came in and scheduled this and everything. But it feels good in there. There's about that much foam.
Yeah.
Maybe I had to go down a size in the inner tube, and it worked out. It feels good. I went out, and at first I didn't put enough air in it, and it felt kind of sloppy. And I was like, ooh. And then I put some more air in, and I was like, oh, okay, this feels good. It feels tight to the. Plus, I know if I land, there's going to be about that much foam in between the tire and the rim. Now it's not going to bottom out anymore.
Yeah,
it makes it more comfortable. It's like, man, did I tell you what I was talking about it right when I come down this hill, and there was and then there was probably a 40 foot drop. And I was like, okay, so I started getting down the drop, and then I looked at the end, and there was this big sewage thing. And I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I had to jump over it. And I kind of cased it. And I thought, oh, here, I'm dead.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. Yeah, you got to be careful of those manholes or whatever.
It was a manhole, but it was like just it would have. I would have went over the bars if I would have hit it, and then there was just like rocks and railroad track right there, because I had to make a real quick turn back onto the tracks, and it was like, ooh, it was kind of covered with grass. So when I first come over the hill, it was a blind. And then I started going down, and then I noticed there was two jumps about, they're not big jumps. They're about a 4 foot, 5 foot jump, 6 foot jump. So I took them both, and when I hit that second one, and then I was in the air when I seen it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shoot.
Oh, shit. I know it happens, man. That's nature. When you get out in nature, I know.
Yeah, I just pulled up as hard as I could when I hit. My front tire hit, and then I just pulled back up, and then I bunny hopped, and that's what saved me. I was like, phew. But then I realized I got to put those inserts in and start doing this a little safer, because if I fall, man, and I could lay there forever and no one would even know I'm there, because I go pretty deep.
I fell last year. I was going to a bench, and I didn't realize how steep the parts of the bench.
Yeah.
It fell on my bike. I fell right on my shoulder, and it was like rolled over. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and that happens a lot when you're in these trails. Like, there's a lot of slopes that, like, if you're like, I hit a stump the other day. I was walking in the park. I was walking, and I hit a stump, and then I hit like a little tiny one, right? Tiny little stump.
Now, 2 years ago, that's how I almost went over that cliff. I went to pull up. I didn't. Well, it was 3 years ago. When I bottomed my forks out like a couple days before, and I didn't notice that they were bottomed. And when I went and pulled up, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I hit the log, and I was going to bunny hop the log, and then right OTB over, and I was laying there with my head laying over this cliff and thinking, oh man, I think I could land it, but if I came like this far from dying.
Yeah. I know it's crazy. You gotta.
I did the man thing. I got the bike up and I'm looking over and I'm thinking, I was like, I could land that. It was like 40-foot drop.
It's a head injury. You gotta get.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were a helmet, because we had a girl out here and it was like a small. It wasn't even a big park. It was like she fell. She slipped on. And she hit her head on like a rock, and she fell right into the water and drowned in the water right in front of her like, young niece.
Yeah, I always wear that plastic hat. It's like it's a insert that goes underneath your hat. It's a helmet insert. I wear those now, so I kind of look natural. I don't look like a dork with a racing helmet.
Yeah. You got to be careful in nature. You can't be like reckless, and that's the thing. You can't be reckless in nature, but
you can't be reckless. Now, if I had like arm pads and knee pads and the full facial helmet and everything, I might go for a little extra. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit that big jump. But no, I'm too old, and man, I've been carrying two forms of like communication. I carry this little pad and a phone, so I can always get help if I need it if I'm back.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun anyways. I pulled up to the gas station and I was just covered with mud. Everybody.
Oh, really?
There was mud coming off of my tires, and it was like everybody's looking at me like, look at this piece of work.
Yeah, we had a couple of aggressive bikers yesterday. It was one horn. Finally, I saw. There was the first time I think I've heard a beep on that, like a horn beep. She used the horn beep.
She's a horn, yeah.
Yeah, because most of the time it's just on your left.
On your left, yeah. I got one of those little bells that I put on. I bought it with the. It was a pretty good. It was a pretty good brake, but it came with a bell on it, so I just left the bell on there, and now I think it's funny when I hit it and go around somebody.
My buddy's like 76. He's walking on the left side of the park, the sidewalk.
No, I can't do that.
I know. I was telling him. I said, Joe, what are you doing? His name's Joe too. I said, what are you, ambidextrous? I was like joking around with him. Yeah, he kind of got mad at me. I'm like, what are you, ambidextrous? I said, walk on the right, because he's walking on the left side of the thing, and it's harder for the bikers to get through because now they got to go right in between us.
They go between you.
And like he doesn't understand it. And I'm like, so now I just walked behind him on the left side.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever. It's like, it's not fair to the bikers when you're one's on one side, one's on the other side. It's like it's a little bit too much stress for them getting through it. If you just stay on one side, you're better off just stay on the right side where you're supposed to be. But he doesn't understand it. I don't know. He's like this older guy. He doesn't really, he doesn't understand it, like the dynamics of it.
Yeah, I wish Rick was saying I should have a friend to go. I wish there was somebody else that was my age that enjoyed mountain biking and had at least understood in my area, but there's nobody. It's like either the young kids. I don't want to hang around no young kids. They'll just jump over me and shit like Hoka.
There was one guy who was flying. He must have had a motorized bike. I don't know. He was flying.
Yeah. Mine's got a motor on it and everything. But it's just like I wish there was at least a 40-year-old guy or up that I can go up. And I did find out where I'm going to go where I can get in to this one area I want to go to, and I got to start carving out a path. So I'd like to make it a downhill. If I can go up to the top of the park, the river is and just kind of downhill it to where I want to go. It's like, that'd be really sweet.
Yeah.
But I got to cut the path out. There's nothing here.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun getting out there.
Oh, downhills are nice if you know.
Oh yeah, and you get downhill, you get a lot of speed, but you gotta be, you gotta make sure
Yeah, anytime on a bike, a mountain bike like mine is, you can take a few jumps and get a little speed and find a berm to hit. It's like that's the A game there. That's what you want. And so I figured out where I can go in now, and I can kind of end up where I want to be, and then I can spend a day down there doing my geeky shit.
Yeah.
And but it'll be cool. It'll be cool. So we're pretty much done with the topic. And
Marriage Racket. Yeah, Marriage Racket, religious. Yeah, it's a racket. It's definitely a racket. I mean, there's no question. I mean, the lawyers obviously make a lot of money on the divorces too, and
they want to keep it going. I understand. That's what happened when Minnesota, not Minnesota, what's that, Montana, when they had Measure 6 up there, and the lawyers just they want to keep the divorce racket going, and they didn't want to give up the 50-50 custody, 50-50 custody, and that would end their game. So they wanted to keep the racket going. And they did. They spent a lot of money. That was my big bitch with the MRA, because that same year the MRA was having their big party up in Detroit there, up in Windsor.
Yeah.
And they had spent so much money, but they didn't do what the MRA was supposed to do. They should have been pushing Measure 6 over in Montana there, and they didn't even show up. And I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Having a party when there's work to be done over there. They did no videos on it. They didn't even, it's like they ignored it. And then I was like, well, who are you guys working for? The enemy?
Mm-hmm.
But they had their party, and the girls stole all the money, and they had to, it's like, I think that was karma that happened right after that, because they had so blown it on Measure 6.
Yeah.
But the lawyer showed up because that's their bread and butter, and they want to keep this good thing going that they got. But
yeah, look at all the money that's made. They just having a wedding too. Just having a wedding. I mean, there's the cost for catering and the whole thing. It's just a big business. It's like a big,
yeah,
like there's a lot of incentives for certain people to keep the thing going.
Yeah, that's what Sandman does his wedding photography, and he takes their money.
Oh, he does. Yeah, see, that's the hypocrite to me. I mean, I'm sorry. Is he consider himself a MGTOW? Like, what is he?
He's a MRA. I don't think he's a MGTOW.
He's an MRA. I don't know what he. Yeah, but yeah. So does he push marriage?
He's seen the MGTOW was growing, so he came in and but I don't think he's more of an MRA. He's not really.
Yeah. So okay, I'll give him a pass on that, I guess. But I mean, he's got to make a living, but you really shouldn't be talking about MGTOW stuff if you're doing wedding photography.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, I don't know, man. Like, that's weak, man. It's like
weak.
I guess he doesn't talk about MGTOW, so it doesn't matter. So
yeah, he made his money in MGTOW and made his name doing the MGTOW Light. And it's like, that was never the intention of MGTOW. MGTOW was supposed to, it wasn't supposed to be MRA Light. It was we're supposed to be doing something here, and we have active measures, and we're supposed to be abiding by these acts, because that puts pressure on the marriage, and sooner or later somebody will wake up, and people start waking up and see how absurd the whole marriage process is and how much it costs this country. And it's like we start getting away from that, and then men, start businesses up without having to worry about like losing them and stuff like that. Most of the country, most of the economy in America will never really grow back, because men just don't. I'm not going to work half my life, start a business just so I can lose it to in some divorce, and they're even trying to find ways to take your stuff without it too.
Well, my cousin had a situation. I guess I don't know. I heard through the grapevine, like, he doesn't. He's not a super wealthy guy, but boy, a lot of money, like tens of
Yeah, that's
thousands of
what
dollars,
me.
tens of thousands of dollars. You thinking,
Yeah, that's what Me Too is
I
about.
think it put him in a bad spot, and that put it like it was just like she got him on something. I
Yeah.
can't get into it, but like but
Well, Me
you
Too is
know,
a response to mgtow. mgtow said, we're not going to do this. We're not going to lose our businesses and our money. So they invented a new way to take the money from you through.
I mean, he didn't even marry the girl. Like they
Yeah,
were engaged
mere
or something.
accusation. They can take your business through mere accusation now.
And that's the same problem with cohabitation. It's
Yeah,
another problem. Like
cohabitation.
you'll run situations there too. They'll feel like they own part of that
Right.
a piece
Yeah.
of your resources because they
Right. So the
invest
best
some
thing,
time in you. And it's just terrible. They're just terrible. They're just
yeah,
terrible.
full monk and not put yourself in those positions and avoid the risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best
Yeah.
way to do it, if you're a young man and you're trying to start a business nowadays, that's the way I would do it, because I'd be a billionaire right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I was younger and had that to do over again, MGTOW would be okay. Avoid all this risk. The government and the women's don't take half my shit or more than half. They'll take everything, and I get to keep. That's that. Yeah, I get to keep my wealth and what I've created. That's perfectly understandable now. Now that's what the Me Too was. Me Too is simply a way to extract wealth from males through, you know, uh, being cunning and crafting and do unscrupulous manners and ways. They lie. That's what it's about. And
Right. It gives them more leverage. More
but
leverage.
that was the immediate reaction to MGTOW.
Yeah, it gives them right. It gave them more powers.
It gives them more power and leverage, and we have to just continue doing what we're doing. And if the only guys you're going to get on those kind of Me Too things are MRAs and PUAs and everything, and they're standing in line to be the next victim.
Yeah, that's why I don't like to surround myself with any of those simp type guys.
I see anything of sexual nature or anything going on where I'm out of there. I'm not staying around. It's like the best way to avoid a charge is not be there when the police get there.
Yeah, just don't engage with
Don't engage with any of that.
I'd say my suggestion is honestly, like you said, 200 miles fake ID, and then
hey, yeah, put it very minimal.
Or actually, the superior move is just take a hot shower and
just take a cold shower and
yeah. Well, I prefer hot showers, but
showers and just take
I like a warm shower. Yeah, I always get like a too hot, but you know what I mean. Like a cold shower is not my thing, but like a hot shower, yeah. Just close the door and
yeah, you'll find most
that's all you need. That most of the time, that's all you need. Just to stop
that thinking, and you're an ace.
Yeah, just to relax. Get in nature too. You get in nature, like stuff like that. Like yeah. So you're not
all those kind of thoughts.
This over sexualization is it's obviously it's another bait and switch. It's another. What do you think pornography? It's just another bait and switch.
Right.
They're trying to make you believe that women are whatever, right? They're that life is all about them, and
that is right now when the whole social construct is all about them and trying to. It's aggressive mimicry is what it is, and it's trying to get you into that web of that trap. So you're hit. Then you got to avoid that. Talk to MGTOWs, and that's probably where we're going to end this today. Is going up on. I need to get in a hot shower myself. Get some of this.
Stay away from these simps. I would highly, because that helped me too. That was another one. That was another big key to my peace of mind and high quality. I have a super high quality life. I mean, because the reason is because I stay away from simps as the best I can, right? The best I can.
Right,
it's not
stay away from
100% because but I had like a year where I pretty much stayed away from everybody, and that was the best year of my life. And
try to maximize my enjoyment on this planet while I'm here, and do what I want to do. And
right, do what you want to do. Exactly, live the life you want to live. This whole idea of thinking you're born with right. You don't have to acknowledge the authorities. You don't have to acknowledge the authority. We'll have another 2-hour talk maybe on that one, but like you don't have to acknowledge the authorities there, because they're trying to tell you to live a certain way that's not really going to help you.
Yeah, that's just get away from that, and that's the best advice we can give: is don't fall for the traps and stay away from it. Do your mgtow, and the best thing to do is just minimize all contact with females. And if you see those things happening, you got to get rid of some friends too, that they'll bring that to you. And then
that's a good
best
point.
Possible life, and it's not going to be all that hard. When I was a simp, becoming a monk wasn't that hard. It was just like you just put it away, and you realize that the default position of a male is asexuality, anyways. And it's like I can work on cars, I can work on my bike, I can, I'm not thinking about girls when I'm doing that, and that's keeping me safe. And and I go down to the park. I'm not thinking about girls. I'm thinking about the plants, the flora, the vegetation, the rocks. I want to learn about all of it and become in tune with this terrestrial planet I live on, not this social construct that's killing me or used to be killing me. It's like that's how.
Well, and if you like you said, if you need that, just go 200 miles fake ID. I would say go to a massage parlor. Go to a massage parlor, get a massage, and then they usually have extracurricular activity that you can do later, and that's if you need it. If you need it,
all that stuff.
It's natural to kind of to maybe want that, but that's the way to do it. Don't do anything locally. Like I would just get in your car. You don't even have to go to 200 miles. You can go 100.
Right, you get fake ID. With a
100 miles fake ID, and I'd say a massage parlor.
It doesn't even have to look real. It just has to look real to them.
Yeah, and I would say
asking your ID.
I like to. I like to say go to an Asian massage parlor because they're usually from China or they don't speak English, and you can take care of your business there, and then you don't even know each other, and that's if you need it. That's if you need it. Obviously, if you can avoid that, it's even better. You save money and whatever, but you don't get into these long-term relationships. You don't invite a woman to your house and go to their house. You don't get. You want remember that line, Joe? Like when you're dating, like you want to meet my parents.
Yeah, that's when the MRAs get trapped. Also, they're going over the house. They're doing that marriage stuff. You see, they get trapped and they think they're doing it right, and they're not doing it right. They fell for the same old trap. Look at Rollo Tomasi's divorce. Strauss is divorced. They're all, and hey, they didn't listen to the mgtow.
No, we have the answers. And that's why I'm so cocky when I talk about mgtow, because it's like I feel like we are the illumined ones. It's not these people that are in the know or whatever. Like we're already seeing their tricks, right? Like we're tricking the trickster. Like okay, like I already know like your game, right? We know their game, and then so we're like ahead of them. We're ahead of them just because they have more resources on whatever material gains or all this other kind of shit. And at the end of the day, it's who's the most involved in their thinking, right? And who's the one that's the least slave, like who's the one that's the most free, right? Or whatever, right? We're all born with freedom, but a lot of people don't exercise their freedom. I think for us, we're at a higher level of thinking, so ultimately we are the elite in this society. I really believe that.
Yeah, just do your mgtow, do it strong, and keep yourself.
Not that I'm better than anybody else. I don't look at it that way, but I just feel like the thinking is at a higher level. We're at the highest level of thinking.
To be more aware of the world we live in, and
right. And we're not going to let anybody. We're not going to let anybody play us, or sucker us into it, or bait and switch us, or all this kind of marriage fraud. They're not going to trick us.
Because them people are the predators, and.
Right.
Don't be a victim to that. Just they're predators and they want to get you trapped in that.
Right. So we have to, again, I like the idea of tricking the trickster. Like we trick them. Like we're not, anyway. Okay. But yeah. So anyway, thanks for having me on the show.
Coming around and
yeah.
How strong, I guess that's the thing. Just be mgtow strong.
Yeah, and just live the life you want to live. I mean, my last thought would be just live the life you want to live. Don't stop getting, you gotta, it's like do that factory reset in your mind. You know what I mean? And like I always say, like
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that, even if you're
yeah,
advanced MGTOW. You're
yeah,
gonna have to stop, reset something, and look around, do your
right,
observation of yourself. You critically look down inside of you, and do that to self introspection, along with an outside observation of what's coming at you. And you're gonna have to sit down some days and do that, and then get a different plan. If you need to change things, if you're veering from your MGTOW, say, no, I got to go back, reconsider this stuff. And if you're getting too close to something, uh, you know what I'm saying, the split V, I don't want to get too close to that. You got to reconsider, do that reset. And that's a good, I think that's where we should end it right there, because that's the best advice for the modern MGTOW is just do your reset once in a while, get back and live life. That's it. And I want to say thanks for each one of these guys, Steven and Luigi and Rick and Hank and RP and Jigsaw and all those guys that show up weekly. It's just a joy to be around you guys, and that's it. Thanks for being MGTOW. MGTOWs.